What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Urban Platform Speaks. Make sure to like and subscribe as you tune into the channel. You check out the content. And with that being said, man, Dwight Howard, man, he was the topic of discussion on Nightcap, Shannon Sharp's Nightcap, right? Shannon Sharp, Chad Ochocinco, and Joe Johnson spoke about where they gave their opinion basically on where they think that Dwight Howard should be ranked. What his legacy is in the NBA, right? And I don't, you know what, and with this, like where to rank people and how great they were and stuff like that. I don't like, as far as I'm concerned, I just feel like basically if you the purpose is to be like chasing the greats in the game, right? And I remember when Dwight Howard was in high school, I think they, I saw some of his games, like some footage of some of his games and stuff like that. Who came out? I remember it was in this class, it was Dwight Howard, Josh Johnson, and it was another kid that went to Memphis. He went to Memphis. I forgot his name. He was a guard though, right? And he didn't make it to the he did make it to the league, but he didn't have a long NBA career. He made it for he wasn't as long as Josh Johnson and no, I'm sorry, Josh Smith. That's his name, Josh Smith. And they came in at the same time. And I think all of those guys were from like the down south Atlanta area, right? And Dwight Howard, man, from the very beginning, in my opinion, was a beast. He was projected to come to the league and just do some great things, which I think Dwight Howard did. Have a great career in the NBA. Josh Smith had a great career. This other guy, I think his name was Darius Washington, right? He went to Memphis and played there. He was a guard. He didn't. I don't. He might have got an opportunity to play in the NBA. I'm not sure, but Darius was a good basketball player, but he just couldn't stick, right? But as far as like the legacy of basketball players, like I said, in my opinion, I think when you come to the league, I, you know, you want to you want to chase rings. You want to you want to have you want to win a championship, basically, right? That's the whole thing. It's not about stats. How many rebounds, and I mean that stuff, rings come first. The stats, the block shots and the rebounds and all that stuff. You accumulate all of those stats on the way to winning rings, right? And so other than that, I think if you're not able to get a ring, which most people are not able to win a championship when they come to the league, then you basically just another face in the crowd, in my opinion. I like Dwight Howard. I think he'll probably, I think he's a Hall of Famer, but I don't think like he'll go down, in my opinion, as one of the greats. He's a great athlete and was a great player, but I don't think he's an all-time great, in my opinion. So let me play the audio from Nightcap and come back and give some more input on what, with what Shannon, Chad, and Joe had to say.
Dwight Howard is officially retiring from professional basketball. Joe, Ocho, you first, Joe. Where do you rank Dwight?
Oh, I got him up as far as centers up. He up there, bro. He up there. I had a chance to play against him in a couple playoff series to where it was nothing we could do, bro. We had to let the man, like we had to play him straight up because they were so good. This the year they went to the finals. They beat us that year, but then the following year we beat them. But he was so dominant. Like I'm talking about, like to the point defensively, he could anchor the defense by himself. He was crazy athletic at 6'11", jumping out the gym like that. Like defensively, bro, he just wrecked the game. It was just, it was special to watch, But
you talk about Joe, this or Orlando Magic, right?
Yeah.
Quarterback injury.
He used to get to it, boy. He had everything. He had, he came into the league, not really a scorer, just a rim runner. And then he developed some post moves down there in the post, Uncle Ocho, to where he was effective. And next thing you know, he was unstoppable. He was unstoppable, bro. He had a good career. He had a great career, actually. He's a Hall of Famer.
Now, I agree with everything Joe Johnson said, right? I I do remember him at, when he was with the down in Orlando. But like I said, I don't know about all-time great. I great basketball player, great athlete, but I don't know about all-time great, man. I just think that, you gotta get at least one, in my opinion.
The only thing I say, they did him
Mhm.
wrong. He deserves to be one of those top 75 players. There are some guys that got on there. And I think Anthony Davis is phenomenal. But Anthony Davis has not had a better career than Dwight Howard when they selected his team. He didn't.
Right.
I'm sorry, guys.
Hey,
I'm
they gonna
sorry.
have to.
And that's not. And I respectfully. And I think Anthony Davis is a phenomenal player, and he's gotten and earned everything that he deserves. Dwight Howard is one of the 75 best players in NBA history. His resume, the defensive player of the year, the all NBA selections. He finished second in the MVP voting. He anchored a team that went to the NBA finals. They lost to Kobe. But Dwight Howard is a top 75 player.
Absolutely.
Now, look.
Absolutely.
Now, that's something that I'm not even going to argue because, like I said, some people are going to like Anthony Davis, some people are going to like Dwight Howard. I think I do agree with Shannon Sharp. Because I'm not an Anthony Davis fan because Anthony Davis couldn't really stay healthy, but Anthony Davis also has a ring. He got a championship ring, So and Anthony Davis was fortunate enough to be on a team with LeBron James, and they was able to get a ring in that in the bubble. But I mean, to me, it's really not an argument unless top 75. Like who's qualified, from to judge the NBA from day one to up until now, just to see like who was the top 75 of all time. So but that top 75 thing to me is just more so of a for the media, just so they can make some money off of it. But I don't even get into that.
When you start talking about centers, you got Shaq and you got Kareem, and you got Mr. Russell, you got Wilt, Moses Malone, Yoke.
Embiid.
No, I ain't taking the beat over here.
Where do you rank him, Monk? Where do you rank Dwight?
I'm trying to get
the greatest centers of all.
Kareem, Mr. Russell, Wilt, Shaq, Moses Malone, Nikola Jokic. That's 6 there.
See, that's why that's why I just think it's so hard. And for centers, like centers are dependent on the guards to get them the ball, or you got to have like a really good center guard combination. That's why Wilt Chamberlain didn't win a whole lot of rings. I think Wilt Chamberlain might have had. I know he got one with the Lakers. I don't know if Wilt Chamberlain has 2, right? But it's just so hard unless you get a ring. There have been some really good centers who came along who just didn't get that ring. Patrick Ewing, I think. I like Patrick Ewing. I think, he was one of the greatest centers of all time, but Pat was not able to get over the hump and get that ring. I think had Patrick Ewing gotten that ring, man, people would talk about Pat differently. Charles Barkley, not a center, but Charles Barkley was a great basketball player who never got a ring. And that's what, it's unfortunate. I think Dwight was good enough to be in a class with those guys, but he just never got a ring.
What you put him at, like 7th or 8th?
It's centers, yeah.
I'm thinking so, Ocho. Oh, no. He down Hakeem. What the hell?
Yeah.
what the hell? Man, come on.
Dave Robinson. You put Dave Robinson.
David Robinson, yeah.
You forgot, but Tim Duncan considered
He a
power
power forward,
huh?
He a 4.
Power forward.
Okay.
Yeah, man, I don't know
So
what
you
hell
put him in the top 10. You haven't
lost my damn mind. So yeah, I think he's a top 10 center. I think I give him top 10.
Yeah.
He ain't in the top 5.
Yeah, he had a good career.
Ocho, it's time to play
Great
a
career.
fade presented.
Yeah, I do think that Dwight Howard had a really good career, man. He's just an athlete, you know. Man, he was just an athlete. But unfortunately, he could never get the right guys around him to help propel him to, to a championship. I wish him and Patrick Ewing had got rings, man, because I like both of those guys as centers, right? I think I like Patrick Ewing a little bit, but Pat wasn't as athletic as him. I just think Pat, like offensively, was just more polished than than Dwight Howard. I think he was more polished than Dwight Howard. But man, yeah. Um, Sometimes great basketball players don't get rings, man. And so, you know, everybody can't be an all-time great. Even though, these guys have great careers. Everybody that come along can't get into that category. So that's my take. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Also, don't forget to leave a comment. And with that being said, I'm gonna check you all out on the next video. Peace.